In this video, we'll be taking a look at 3 college football games happening on October 20th, 2023, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games. So 2 picks for each game, 6 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 3 college football games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start. If you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below, where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Virginia versus North Carolina. The 2 Atlantic Coast Conference teams will meet on Saturday. The Virginia Cavaliers will travel to Chapel Hill, where they will await the 10th-ranked UNC Tar Heels. The Tar Heels have won the last 2 meetings with the Cavaliers. This time, they will be looking for their 3rd straight win at home in Kenan Stadium. Virginia will be ready to crush its rivals' playoff hopes on Saturday. Let's take a look at what each school is preparing for this October clash. The last time the Cavaliers were on the football field, they left with their first win of 2023. After last weekend's bye, Virginia will be fighting for its first Power 5 win of the season in North Carolina. The win is the first time Virginia has held an opponent to 24 points or less. For a group that is allowing 32 points per game, Saturday is going to be a tough task. Much of the damage is on the ground, where the Cavaliers are surrendering 177 yards per game. As is often the case, Virginia is giving up 4.4 yards per carry. Through the air, opponents are passing at a 63.2% success rate, averaging 7.1 yards per attempt. Overall, they are allowing 379.8 yards per game. Will this win and bye week energize them, or will they be a dud this weekend? If the defense falters, an offense that averages 22.4 points per game will not bail them out. The only game Virginia has scored more than 30 points was against James Madison, a number they will probably have to beat on Saturday. Sophomore wide receiver Malik Washington is the star of the offense with 44 catches, 668 yards, and 5 touchdowns. He has at least 5 snags and 95 yards in his last 5 games. Washington has been the pacemaker in the passing game this season, gaining 249.3 yards per game between the 2 starting quarterbacks. Tony Muskett should start again this time around. Meanwhile, the Cavaliers are gaining 99.5 rushing yards per game. How do you think this ranks among conference rivals? Only Paris Jones has run more than 30 carries for the Cavaliers, an average of 4 per carry. Basketball season is not coming soon in Charlottesville. Chapel Hill may also embrace basketball, but the football team is at least knocking on the door of an Atlantic Coast Conference championship game appearance. A conference win would almost guarantee a playoff berth, an offense led by NFL draft candidate Drake May. UNC ranks 8th nationally in yards per game and 15th in scoring. They score at least 31 points every weekend and have reached 40 points in 4 of their 6 games. Omarion Hampton, with 8 touchdowns, leads the rushing attack with an average of 184.3 yards per game. He ranks 15th nationally with 658 yards. May ranks 12th in the nation with 1,902 passing yards and 12 touchdowns, while UNC's aerial attack averages 317 yards per game. No team has yet to slow down the Tar Heels offense. As for the other side of the ball, UNC is allowing 21 points per game. Since they often have the lead, 245.8 yards have come from opponents throwing the ball. However, they have 16 sacks and 9 interceptions. Against the run, they are giving up only 3.6 yards per carry and 114 yards per game. His longest run was 29 yards. Only 2 opponents have reached 30 points against the Tar Heels. One of those games ended in double overtime. The other game was last weekend against the Miami Hurricanes. While not a dominant group, the Tar Heels defense is getting the job done. North Carolina's vast number of playmakers are dominating the Cavaliers on both sides of the ball. No one expects this game to be an upset watch, but the question in this game will be how willing North Carolina is to move the scoreboard and whether Virginia's offense can score on its own. The Virginia Cavaliers are a one-dimensional offense that runs most of its offense through the air. The Tar Heels' pass defense is the weakest link. This bodes well for Virginia's quarterback, Musket, and two top-class receivers, Washington and Fields. Recently, the Cavaliers' offense has come alive, scoring 24 points against the Eagles at Boston College and 21 points against NC State. After all, both games were decided by 3 points. In fact, all 5 of Virginia's touchdowns in the 2 games were through the air. Virginia will likely play from behind, but will continue to attack through the air and find holes in the Tar Heel secondary. The final score will likely average close to 22 points. After defeating the nationally ranked Hurricanes, the Tar Heels have the potential to be national champions. They know they will have to win their next couple of games against lesser opponents, but they have their sights set on Duke and Clemson in mid-November. That said, North Carolina has scored 40 or 41 points 4 times this season, and one of those games required double overtime. The other 2 games were 31 points. North Carolina, which continues to fine-tune its offense, will probably score around 40 points in this matchup as well. The Cavaliers, on the other hand, have enough weapons to score and will score at least 3 touchdowns on the day and average close to 22 touchdowns. The North Carolina Tar Heels are clearly the better team, but they are also not an easy team to beat, as 5 of their 6 wins have been decided by 20 points or less. It is also a down spot for UNC after a big win over Miami. The Virginia Cavaliers have not won a game and have not done well on either front. However, they lost by 3 points to Boston College on the road, lost by 1 point to James Madison, and nearly beat NC State. Despite the poor numbers, a bounce here or there would put Virginia in a much better position. There are plenty of points. North Carolina will win this game, but 24 points is too high, so the Virginia Cavaliers to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. It's no secret that the Tar Heels have the best offense in college football. They will showcase that again this weekend. The team has been practicing hard this week and is looking to build on their success. Coach Brown said, "We haven't played well enough to walk around with our chests out." We hope the Tar Heels can showcase the do better part of that this weekend. Once again, Cavalier quarterback Tony Musket will utilize key playmakers on Virginia's receiving core to attack North Carolina's weakest point on defense. Like the recent games against NC State and Boston College, Virginia will be able to put up more than 3 touchdowns. Virginia's defense has already allowed 36 or more points 3 times, and this will be their best offense yet. The Tar Heels are likely to score 40 or more points. UNC has finished with 31 or more points every week, even against tough teams. Playing the worst defense in the Atlantic Coast Conference against the top offense in the conference will not bode well for Virginia. The Tar Heels are not bad defensively, but they are not a threat to shut anyone out this season. Virginia's offense may be the lowest scoring offense in the Atlantic Coast Conference, but they still average over 20 points per game. Also, Malik Washington is one of the top receivers in the nation and should make big plays when the Cavaliers are leading. It may not be pretty, but Virginia will get on the scoreboard several times this Saturday. The over and under are evenly split between the 2 teams this season. Both teams will score above average in this matchup, thanks to both North Carolina's offense and defense. The last 4 meetings between these 2 schools have ended with at least 59 points. That should be the case this time as well. Over the projected total is our full game total pick. Mississippi State versus Arkansas. Mississippi State versus University of Arkansas. The Mississippi State University Bulldogs will travel to Fayetteville, Arkansas on Saturday to take on the Razorbacks of the Southeastern Conference. The Bulldogs are 3-3 on the season and have lost all 3 of their games in conference play. The Razorbacks are just 2-5 on the season, have lost 5 straight and are winless in the Southeastern Conference. The Mississippi State Bulldogs have struggled this season under new head coach Zach Arnett. They are 3-3 on the season, 0-3 in the Southeastern Conference, and return from a bye this week. After opening the season with 2 straight wins, they ended a 3-game losing streak with a 41-28 win over Western Michigan 2 weeks ago. Will Rogers had 3 touchdowns before being injured, and the Bulldogs had 194 yards and 2 touchdowns. The defense allowed 297 yards passing and 116 yards rushing, with 1 touchdown on the ground and 1 in the air. Coach Zach Arnett has yet to announce Will Rogers' injury status and whether he will start on Saturday, but Rogers has played a limited number of snaps in practice this week. Mississippi State has struggled on both ends of the field this season, especially on defense. They rank 56th in the nation in scoring this season, averaging 30 points per game, and 96th in allowing an average of 29.5 points per game. Through the air, Will Rogers is throwing for an average of 222.7 yards per game, and the Bulldogs' rushing offense is averaging 152.8 yards per game on the ground. On defense, Mississippi State is allowing an average of 263.5 yards passing and 131.7 yards rushing per game. The Arkansas Razorbacks, who are 2-5 on the season and sit in last place in the Southeastern Conference East Division with an 0-4 conference record, enter this week's game on a 5-game losing streak after a close loss to Alabama last week. They have lost 5 straight after a close loss to Alabama last week. The Razorbacks' offense was no better, with K.J. Jefferson throwing 14 times for 24 yards and 150 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a 100-yard rushing attack. Defensively, the Crimson Tide responded well, allowing 238 yards and 2 touchdowns through the air, and 177 yards and 1 touchdown on the ground. Arkansas ranks in the middle of the nation in both offense and defense this season, and Razorback fans are not happy with head coach Sam Pittman. The offense ranks 61st in the nation, averaging 30 points per game. Quarterback K.J. Jefferson passes for an average of 211.1 yards per game, and Arkansas rushing offense averages only 109.9 yards per game. Defensively, the Razorbacks allow an average of 25 points per game, 66th in the nation. They are giving up an average of 218 yards through the air and 133.3 yards on the ground. Both teams have really struggled in the Southeastern Conference this season, but the good news is that one of them will get their first conference win of the season here. Arkansas has surprised me this season, as I thought they would be better. Their coaching is questionable and their quarterback play is below average, but this game is at home. Mississippi State has allowed 40, 37, and 31 points in 3 Southeastern Conference games and may be a bigger mess than Arkansas. Arkansas State has shown glimpses of solid play, but can they put together a full game? Jefferson's performance against the Crimson Tide should make Arkansas supporters feel good about the rest of the season. Jefferson's play will determine how well the Razorbacks' offense performs. His ability to escape pressure on Saturday looked like the quarterback who terrorized opposing defenses the previous 2 seasons. Jefferson should have even more luck Saturday against one of the worst defenses in Mississippi State. Jefferson missed this matchup last season and the Bulldogs rolled to a 40-17 victory. 2 years ago, Jefferson led the Razorbacks to a win over the Bulldogs when healthy. Jefferson may do more damage with his arm on Saturday against a Mississippi State defense that is a dismal 122nd in the country against the pass. Mississippi State's offense is good through the air, but they will have to sack the quarterback and face a pass rush from Arkansas State, ranked 17th in the nation. Mississippi State beat Arkansas at home last season, and I expect Mississippi State to avenge last year's loss with a win on the Razorbacks' home field this year. In this matchup, Arkansas has a significant advantage on the defensive side of the ball. Arkansas defense ranks 66th in the nation, allowing an average of 25 points per game and giving up an average of 218 yards through the air and 133.3 yards on the ground. The Bulldogs rank 96th in the country. I think there is great value in Arkansas at home. I expect a spirited effort from the Razorbacks on Saturday and a stop to the team's 5-game losing streak. Therefore, our full game side pick is for the Arkansas Razorbacks to win and cover the spread. The last 2 meetings between these 2 teams have both gone over the total, including a game with and without Arkansas Jefferson at quarterback. Jefferson should have the Bulldogs' mediocre defense at his disposal, and we could see some highlight reel numbers from this big quarterback. Mississippi State should use Rodgers, a quarterback who needs a week to recover from a sore arm. Rodgers is the better passing quarterback of the 2 and has experience against Arkansas defense. During the game, the Bulldogs will be playing catch-up. This should result in extra points and a fast-paced game. We expect both teams to score in this matchup. When these 2 teams played last season, the over scored 57 points. Mississippi State averaged 29.5 points allowed per game, 96th in the nation. Arkansas allows an average of 25 points per game and ranks 66th in the nation on defense. The projected total over is our full game total pick. Coastal Carolina versus Arkansas State. Sun Belt Conference play continues Saturday night as the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers take on the Arkansas State Red Wolves. Coastal beat Appalachian State 27-24 last Tuesday to finish as a 4.5-point underdog. Arkansas State is coming off a bye and was run out by Troy in its previous game, losing 37-3 on the road as a 15.5-point dog. Coastal Carolina has struggled this season, going 3-3 this week and 1-2 in conference play in the Sun Belt. Last week's come-from-behind win over Appalachian State on a 24-yard field goal by Cade Hensley gave head coach Tim Beck his first Sun Belt Conference win. Quarterback Grayson McCall was 19 of 28 for 373 yards and threw 2 touchdowns in that Tuesday night win. The Chanticleer's rushing attack ran for 196 yards and another touchdown. Coastal's pass defense was pretty poor, allowing 305 yards and 2 touchdowns. But their rush defense was decent, holding the Mountaineers to 111 yards and 1 touchdown. Coastal Carolina is a middling team on both ends of the field this season. On offense, they rank 55th in the nation, averaging 30.5 yards per game, throwing for an average of 299.7 yards per game and rushing for 149.5 yards per game. On defense, they allow an average of 24 points per game, ranking 57th in the nation. The Chanticleers are giving up an average of 242.2 yards through the air and 155.2 yards on the ground. The Arkansas State Red Wolves entered this week's game with a 3-3 record and 1-1 in the Sun Belt Conference, coming off a 3-game winning streak and struggling last week on the road against Troy, where they were outscored 37-3 by both teams and shut out for the final 3 minutes 51 seconds of the game. Quarterback Jalen Rayner threw for just 156 yards, and the Red Wolves' rushing offense was limited to just 47 yards. Defensively, Arkansas State gave up 236 yards and a touchdown through the air, and allowed the Trojans to run for an astounding 351 yards and 3 touchdowns on the ground. Arkansas State has been one of the nation's worst teams on both ends of the field this year, scoring an average of 22 points per game. They ranked 107th in the nation on offense, throwing for an average of 206.3 yards per game and running for an average of 144.8 yards per game. The Red Wolves are even worse on defense, allowing an average of 36.5 points per game, 4th worst in the nation, giving up an average of 267 yards passing and 192.8 yards rushing per game. Both teams are 3-3, but that's as far as the similarities go. Arkansas State has a win over a football championship subdivision school and 2 one-win programs in Southern Miss and UMass. The Red Wolves are statistically awful and near the bottom of the Sun Belt in every statistical category. They are last in yards allowed, giving up 459.8 yards per game. Coastal Carolina has an excellent quarterback in Grayson McCall, but he is prone to turnovers. The Red Wolves have only 3 interceptions in 6 games, so McCall will be able to pass all over the secondary. The Chanticleers are averaging 299.7 yards passing per game and are facing their worst defense of the season. Coastal is on a tear this season and is coming off a win over App State as a road underdog. Arkansas State's defense is one of the worst in the nation. The Red Wolves have given up the 4th most points in the nation this season, allowing 351 yards and 3 touchdowns to Troy last week. Coastal's offense is not bad, averaging 30 points per game. They threw for an average of 299.7 yards per game and ran for an average of 149 yards, 5 yards per game. They should be able to score with ease. This is a lot of points for the lowly Coastal Carolina Chanticleers, especially on the road, but it shows how bad Arkansas State is. Arkansas State ranks 107th in scoring, having scored just 3 points last week against Troy. With a 129th ranked total defense and 130th ranked scoring defense, Arkansas State may be the worst defensive team in the nation. Arkansas State's 3 wins are against teams with a combined 3-18 record. Let's give them a pass. Coastal will gain momentum here and dominate the Red Wolves, so the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. The Red Wolves' offense collapses when they face difficult opponents. They have scored only 3 or fewer points in half their games this season. Coastal Carolina has gone under the total in 5 of their 6 games this season. Coastal has never scored more than 30 points against an Football Bowl subdivision opponent this season, and even if they break that number on Saturday, their opponents will not score enough to reach 60 points. Arkansas State has yet to announce who its starting quarterback will be for this game, but whether Shrout returns or Rayner is retained, neither quarterback is likely to lead a sustained drive in this game. Let's follow Coastal's trend while fading Arkansas State's offense. Arkansas State University will not be expected to score enough points to exceed the total score. Under the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.